When it comes to 14-inch gaming laptops, there's really only two devices that are noteworthy right now. The Razer Blade 14 and then the Zephyrus G14 from Asus. Now, both of these devices are really good. They're both running AMD CPUs, so they're energy efficient, and they both have powerful GPUs, so they have great gaming performance. And over the years, these have been my favorite of the 14-inch devices. Now, this year, Razer's new 14-inch Blade did something strange. It's now running a 140-watt GPU, which seems like a lot of power, and it's one of its main selling points, but it's this strange, misleading marketing gimmick. We gotta get into it. So to understand what's going on, we gotta step back a bit. In early 2020, Asus launched what I would consider to be the first good small gaming laptop, the 14-inch Zephyrus G14. And that laptop had a GPU that ran at 65 watts, which was pretty good for its time. And then over the course of 2021 and then 2022, Asus improved the G14 year on year, so higher GPU wattage and better performance. But Razer also got into that 14-inch game, and they came out with the Blade 14 that could handle 100 watts to the GPU. And this was during a time when NVIDIA's 30 series GPUs were in these devices, and it was very wattage dependent. Like, you could have an RTX 3060 laptop that would outperform a 3070 laptop as long as you're feeding that 3060 with enough wattage. So 14-inch gaming laptops with 100 watt GPUs were actually quite impressive. Fast forward to 2023. So earlier this year, Asus sent me their G14, and it was like, wow, this is a 125 watt GPU, and this is a really awesome system. You get like a 4080, 4090 even at the top end. But then a few days ago, I was sent this device from Razer, their new Blade 14, and this caps out at a 4070. It's the highest configuration they offer this year, but their whole marketing shtick is that it runs at 140 watts. Now, you might be thinking, Dave TD, that's awesome. 140 watts, that's more than the G14, because that's only at 125. And in fact, at 140 watts, that's the highest wattage we've ever seen in a 14-inch gaming laptop. The performance must be awesome, right? Well, there's a problem with this. For gaming laptops that are running a 4070 or lower GPU, so like a 4070, 4060, 4050, there's this hard limit as to how much power you should be feeding these things. Like, I don't know if it's something that NVIDIA is doing on purpose or there's some kind of actual voltage limitation. We'll never really know. But if you feed like maybe 100 to maybe 110 watts to the system, it hits this wall. And anything beyond 110 watts is just wasted. It does not yield good results. It doesn't yield extra performance. Now, this is an early sample, so I can't give you direct benchmarks, but we don't need to. Let me show you something. Here's the new G14. I tested 4 variants, all at 125 watts. We have the 4060, the 4070, the 4080, and the 4090. And here's a Blade 16. It's running an RTX 4070, also at 140 watts. So the same GPU and the same wattage as the one that's in the Blade 14. But you can look in that graph, it's a great performer. It's just that the extra wattage does basically nothing. It's so weird that they're even leaning on this in their marketing material. Like, why are they flexing this 140 watt feature on a 4070? If this was a 4080 or 4090, sure, it makes sense. Flex that. But on this device, what are we doing? Now, here's the whole issue I have with this. It's the price, right? Because this Blade 14 with its RTX 4070 is actually more expensive than a Zephyrus G14 running a 4080. And that thing's gonna be like 35, maybe 40% better performance than this one. It's very significant. And the thing is, this whole 140 watt GPU power marketing, it feels like a gimmick, because if they had designed this system differently, right? If they were like, hey, let's put in 110 watts into this thing, they could have made it cheaper, they could have made it lighter, they could have made the whole system just smaller. Like, you don't need 140 watts if you're gonna do a 4070 in it. It kills me, because this year's new Blade is so good otherwise. They have a new screen, 16:10 aspect ratio, 240 hertz. It's crazy fast, it's bright, got great colors, and the new 1080p webcam up top has a physical privacy shutter, and then when you pop it open, they finally have upgradable RAM slots, both of them. The 14-inch Blades have always had RAM that was soldered onto the motherboards, but now you can swap them out up to 64 gigs on a device like this. Not even the G14 has double swappable SIMs. It's only this device. It's pretty cool, but 4070 at 140 watts. Now, the question that comes into my mind is like, why, right? Why would they do this? My best hypothesis is this. I think that this laptop was designed and engineered way before NVIDIA ever revealed the whole power to performance ratio. Like, I think Razer had to build their Blade 14 blind. Like, they just assumed that, like the 30 series, if you give it more wattage, you win, right? As long as you cool it properly. Because it worked in the past, but it's just this year, it doesn't work like that at all at the 4070 and below. So they got screwed. Now, the other thing that makes me think, like, why didn't they just stick in a 4080 or 4090 then, right? I think it's space. The 4080 and 4090 dies are way bigger than a 4070. And because those removable SODIMM slots take up so much space, I don't think they have the room to stick those bigger dies onto this device. And what we have is a really high wattage 4070. Okay, so if you're looking at these devices, the G14 to me is like the obvious performance winner. Like once you go 4080, 4090, you get way better performance. But even just like the price, it looks extra bad this year because this is capping out at kind of upper mid-tier performance compared to what the G14 can do. Okay, there you have it. The Blade 14 and the G14.